Welcome to Ram and Goat Astrology. Join Helena and me, Laura Lee, each week as we take you on an explorative journey of astrology and health, reading charts, talking planetary energies, while educating and entertaining you. We help you navigate the mysteries of the stars and how they affect you personally. Here we go. Hello, welcome to Ram and Goat Astrology. My name is Laura Lee.
Hello. And I am Helena. Welcome.
And we are going to be joined by a special guest today. Her name is Louise. And we're so excited to have her on because she has a very unusual career. And I have utilized her skills and talents. And I've done a reading for her privately. And I couldn't wait to have her on our show and showcase her unique skills and talents. And then also do a reading to kind of like explain it and almost like back up what she does. So
I'm super intrigued. Let's bring her in so she can tell us what it is that she does, because I just want to learn a lot about what she does and who she is and how she got there.
Yeah. So we will have her come on in just a second here and interview her. And I'm so excited to dive into her chart because it's just fascinating. It's all in the spiritual realm and the woo-woo and all of that. And my brain is just in love with all of that.
Here she
There she is. Hello, Louise. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So nice to see you.
You too.
I'm Helena, if you didn't know.
What? I'm sorry.
I'm Helena.
Oh, hello.
Helena, Louise. And Mary, we were just saying how excited we are to like do a reading for you and interview you and just kind of dive into these skills and talents that you have acquired and manifested, because we're just absolutely fascinated with it. So we can't wait to talk to you more. But why don't you introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about yourself? And I know Helena has one big question for you before we dive into your chart.
Yeah, introduce yourself first, and then I'll bring my question.
I'm Mary, and Texas native. Been here all my life.
Oh, hang on. I think the sound is a little bit. Should we do a sound check? Sorry, Mary Louise, but we've had trouble with sound before, and to me, you sound very low.
Okay. I can get earbuds. You want me to do that?
Why don't
it sounds better.
Did you pull it forward a little bit more? I think that's all you needed to do. Yeah.
Maybe can you put it a little bit closer? Is that possible?
Okay.
I'm sitting also this close to my mic because I'm having issues. Thanks. Okay, great. All right.
Is that better?
It is better.
Okay.
It is better.
Okay, yay. I'm Mary, and I don't know, what do you want to know? I have spent most of my life very curious about all the woo things, but never seriously dived into it until probably the last 10 years. And within that time, I have acquired my Reiki Master certification. I'm an ordained shamanic minister, do shamanic practices. I read Akashic records. I kind of throw all of that into one big bang when I work with people. Most recently, I just within the last couple of weeks started working closer in the angelic realm and with Mary Magdalene, and pulling in those angelic frequencies and using that energy through vocal resonation, singing their frequencies through sessions. And so my next big project is going to be group healings. I'm working with a couple of different friends who are musically inclined, who can play the music, and then I can channel the vocals for it. So that's kind of what I got going on right now. I'm pretty excited about that.
And what is your title, your business name and title that you are?
So my business is completely rebranded recently. I am moving into the Divine Light Collective. I want this to be a educational community to bring people into their highest spiritual self and to just live a more joyous life. We don't need all this human garbage piled on us anymore.
That's why you're
I'm
here
all for
today.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent.
All that sounds so interesting. But the one thing you mentioned that the I think the most intrigued about that I don't know so much about is Akashic records. I've heard a little bit about it, but I think I've barely scratched the surface. Could you explain what that is?
So it is the Akashic field is an energetic field that contains all of our soul's history, past, present, future, parallel, starseed, all of the things that encompasses our soul. If we can tap into that energy, we can utilize it to really bolster the human experience because we can heal root issues that we're feeling and dealing with today. So it's very, very useful, very healing place to work from.
So, for example, someone could have maybe a phobia or something like that, and not know where it comes from, and they could go to you, and you could probably find something in the Akashic records from the past.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had one client who had been driving her whole life, but all of a sudden, in the last like 5 years, she stopped driving because she was so paranoid that something terrible was going to happen. She couldn't even get into a car somebody else was driving because she would have panic attacks. And so we uncovered the root. Years prior, she had been belittled and berated and abused physically and emotionally from her then husband while she was driving, because she would have to pick him up from wherever he was at because he had had too much to drink, and he would just berate her the whole time she was driving him home. And she covered all that up for years and years and years, and something happened later in life that triggered it. And when that trigger happened, all of that fear came back, and because it had been so long, she couldn't recall where it came from.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know I have utilized Mary's amazing talents for my own challenges, my husband, my children. I have a very intuitive push to all of a sudden out of nowhere. It'll be like, I told her, like, the wind pushes me towards Mary Louise. And it's this very like intuitive, you need to go talk with her. And so I'm learning to listen to my own guides and my own intuition. And part of that includes finding mentors and people to just kind of help give me some more answers that will just kind of get me on the right path or keep me on the right path. And it's been so helpful for me. I know personally, with even when we found out we were pregnant with baby number 5 here that I'm 17 weeks with, and it was a big struggle. I was not mentally in the human realm in that phase, right? Like I thought I was done. I was like, nope, I cut that contract. Nope, that wasn't a thing. And she's like, no. And really kind of helped me to see a different perspective and actually just confirmed. It's very much like astrology, where she helped me confirm a lot of the things I was already feeling and just hadn't like spoken out loud. And so it was really, for me, very, very confirming, like, yep, you actually do know what the intuition is strong and you do know how to listen to yourself. Just trust yourself more and, enjoy the pregnancy, because baby's going to be super fun. So we're still working on that part. But it's been so helpful to just to learn more about what she does and utilize her skills. And then to be able to do her astrology chart was phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up her chart. Mary, are you okay with us sharing your birth information? Okay.
So you've had a few readings done before by anyone else or just by Laura?
I've had a couple of readings, but nothing in depth.
Okay.
Or I send everybody to Laura because I'm like, she's my favorite.
Yeah. She is good. Those intuitive hits like lightning.
So, Mary, you've got some amazing stuff in your chart. And I know we've talked about this before, but what I love immediately that jumps out is your water trine. You've got a trine from Venus, which is money and relationships. And that's in Pisces. And then it connects over here to Mars in your first house in Cancer, which is nurturing and healing and mothering. And then you've got that connected in a trine to Uranus, our favorite little butthole planet. I love him. And he's our planet of eccentric behaviors and independence and kind of chaotically changes things. And he's down here in Scorpio in your 5th house of creativity. And then again, connected up there with Venus in your 9th house, which 9th house represents spiritual growth and development and lifelong learning, and then taking the stuff you've learned and teaching it to others. And you have your Venus there, you have your Sun there, and your Mercury, which is the way you think and communicate, all in Pisces, which we like to call the Jesus sign because he was one of the master teachers and healers. And it's in your 9th house of teaching others and taking in information and learning and growing and travel, not necessarily physical, but astral travel, spiritual travel would also fall into that category. So immediately off the bat, my brain's like, holy spiritual person, right? Like that's just what jumps out at me. Helena, what do you see right away?
Yeah, that big grand trine in water. And I also see that you have, so if you see a lot of water placements, you know pretty fast that this person is intuitive and usually spiritual as well. And you, Mary, you have Mars, you have the ascendant, Uranus, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and your MC, which is what did you call it, Laura? Your career.
Your career house or your life purpose or your contribution to society.
Yeah, and all of those are placed in water signs. So that's what really jumps out to me. And your ascendant, which is how you see life, like the lens through which you see life and how others see you, like your first sort of, when someone meets you, those first sort of seconds, you come across as a very Cancerian person. You're really bringing the Cancer energy, which is nurturing, a nurturing energy. So I would guess that people usually come to you for advice, maybe even before you knew that you had this side to you, that you could talk with spirits and that. I'm sure people were drawn to you because you have this very motherly vibe. And I think people feel very safe around you as well because, you have your Sun in Pisces, like the super empath, just giving, helping, and your Venus there, so you really love this. And how you understand others, how you listen to others very intuitively, and you probably feel, when you walk into a room, you probably feel straight away how the vibe is, how the other people are feeling. And,
tell us about that, Mary. How has that been a benefit to you, and how has that been not so helpful?
Oh, we don't hear you.
We can't hear you at all. You completely disappeared volume wise.
I didn't turn anything off.
That's so strange. It goes sort of up and down.
Oh no.
Do you have headphones?
Yeah, let's try those.
Let's try it. By the way, I'm sorry I was late. Daylight saving happened and I didn't think nothing of it.
All right. So we had a little technical glitch there, but we were back. So we were asking Mary, how does it feel and how has that affected her positively or negatively to be able to feel a space so intensely when she walks into a room or a building or anything? So how's that showed up for you, Mary?
Mostly for me, I'm really, really sensitive to genuine feelings, if that makes sense. A lot of the times at a crowded room, people are just, kind of everybody's feeling it out and trying to figure out what's going on. And I will go introduce myself. And if I don't feel like you're genuine, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to talk to you the rest of the night, even if it's just idle chit chat. So I'm not standing alone in the corner. I will go stand alone in the corner versus talk to somebody who's not genuine. And I think that I come across a lot of times to people as, quiet or I don't know, not rude necessarily, but what's that girl doing? She's just standing by herself. But that's because I feel your energy. And if it's not genuine and there's not a connection there, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I think that's part
I
of
totally see that.
a dominant water sign person. Is it's not that you're rude, you feel so much, and you can come across initially, especially Cancer rising, you can come across initially as almost like standoffish, or like you're very warm and nurturing, but you sometimes the water temperature, it's like getting into a pool, right? The water temperature
Yeah.
is a little jarring for people sometimes. So you have to kind of get used to it. And that's just the nature of you with all of your water energy. It's such a benefit, but can also, with anything that has lots of benefits, can have lots of downfalls too. So I think that's partially what you're feeling. When you were younger, did this affect you more profoundly?
Definitely. I was definitely a lot quieter. I was much more an observer when I was younger. I didn't come out of my shell until I was probably 17 or 18 and really showed my true self. I think I was just scared to do that because I knew I was so different from everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you said you had kind of your spiritual awakening, I guess we'll call it, a few years back. How long ago was that?
Probably it happened probably about 10 years ago, I would guess.
And do you remember if there was like a one big trigger for it, or was it a gradual opening?
I had gone through a very deep, dark night of the soul. And coming out of that, what brought me out of that, I had a Reiki session. I didn't even know what Reiki was at that time. And I knew that my soul was crying out for something. I just didn't know what. And when I had that Reiki session, it was like the veil was lifted and I could see everything so clearly. And I could see all of the chaos that encompassed my life at that time. And I was like, oh no, this can't continue. And that dramatically changed my life. I quit my corporate job that I had had for years and years and years and started my own massage therapy business.
Nice.
Within 2 months of that Reiki session.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Now my brain wants to go back to that chart 10 years
Me
ago.
too. I'm looking at Saturn. I'm looking at Pluto. Like, could something have crossed?
I am too. I'm like, something was over here, over Uranus.
Exactly.
Right?
You said chaos and spirituality and the Reiki, and yeah, definitely.
Helen and I are like, where is it? Where
in
is
the fifth house in Scorpio?
Yeah, and it's connected with this Venus and how you earn income, right? Like you changed your job and you learned about other things, about other cultures, about other ways of healing, which is such a ninth house thing to do. So I'm guessing it was probably Saturn over here, or maybe there's something transiting here or squaring Uranus in your fifth house in Scorpio, where you did a transformation very suddenly. And that's exactly what Uranus in Scorpio would be. And it's connected to your Venus, which is how you relate with people and how you earn income. So it makes so much sense. And then again, that's connected to your drive and your ambition and your primal need to be in this life. Like Mars is very primal, and you were kind of hiding that primal part of you of, I am a spiritual person and woo-woo is my thing. And you were hiding that, you said. And so you let that out as well. And in the nurturing healing category. So I just love astrology and all of this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. When I think about, let's say if it was Saturn now crossing Uranus in Scorpio, I just feel like with Uranus, it's like this lightning that sort of would have gone down in the water, and like lightning going down into the ocean, and sort of like a bomb exploding, and something comes up from that, like from that crater in the water, like bubbling up to the surface that you didn't know was there.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel that deeply. Yes.
Yeah.
Almost like the lightning came down and triggered an underwater volcano, and then the volcano like came up out of the water and just changed everything about how you show up in the world.
Wow.
And
well, I'd be curious to see what that looked like a year ago, because I had literal lightning hit the house a year ago with another spiritual awakening.
That's
interesting.
Well, now my brain's like, geez Louise, I gotta get all these days.
Recently, I can see also that you've had Uranus opposite Uranus. You had transit Uranus.
Oh, that's probably what it was.
natal Uranus, and that
Yeah.
happens once in a lifetime.
Yeah, actually, we were talking about that in our last episode. Uranus opposite Uranus is one of those major midlife crisis things. There's 3 of them. And that is, I'm looking at my notes here. That's when things start to blow up and people have massive mental health shifts or mental health breaks, or like just a huge.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
And lightning strikes your
And
house.
Taurus represents your home and your structure and your stability and your foundation. And your home got
That's so
struck by
crazy.
lightning.
What happened? Did it catch fire? Like, is everyone okay?
Everybody's okay. It caught fire in the attic, and so the entire house was destroyed because in order for the fire department to put the fire out, they had to go through the ceiling, and so the house was destroyed.
Oh my
That
god!
sounds very much like a Taurus Scorpio Uranus opposition. Yeah.
burning down to people. Yeah, for sure.
The thing with astrology, and it's very much like what you do, Mary, like it's not exact specific, right? Like it's the energy of, and the energy can show up in so many ways. So astrology is sort of predictive, but not really, because we couldn't have said, hey, yeah, lightning's going to strike your house with this transit. But after the fact, we can go, oh, yeah, that energy, yeah, that works.
But it's so funny because that is probably the most literate explanation
Yes.
you could
For real.
about.
Yes, that's how my guides and my spirits work. They're like, oh, really? You want to see this? All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So
Oh
that
my
makes me curious if you knew that was if I had a reading a month before that happened and you saw that, okay, this thing is coming up in your chart, would that be beneficial to me to say, okay, I need to get my stuff in alignment so that then when that happens, the effects are minimal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. We probably would not have said that lightning will strike your house, but we
Sure.
probably would say that some things are going to change radically.
With your home and structure and foundation, that is Taurus's energy. And then Scorpio is all about very intense transformations. And that's kind of what you went through. Like that's another big thing you went through. And it's in the 5th house and the 11th house, which is creativity and fun and play and children and all of that kind of energy. So, but it's in Scorpio, and it's hard to kind of put those 2 energies together, this Scorpio and play and fun. So when you think about that, your life probably needed a major jolt to get you to start to appreciate and play and have more fun. And that was how you entered our chat today, was I want to help people let go of all this earthly, struggle and enjoy life more, right? Like that's literally what you started our conversation with. So that tells me you're literally embodying this and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Did you really learn that after the lightning strike?
Oh, absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Were you home when it happened?
Yes. I was outside about 20 feet away from the house when it hit, right behind me.
Oh my God.
Holy man. And so you said you had a spiritual thing happen. Can you describe that for us?
That event, how do I put all this? A lot transpired within a month after that event. And I went into another really, really dark place.
Okay.
And came out of that again. It only took me a little bit this time because I was like, no, I'm not doing 6 years of this shit again.
Right.
So
I got you, spirit. I'm listening. I hear you.
Yeah. So I came out of that pretty quickly by the spring.
Okay.
And that there's a lot to the story, but it was absolutely a wake up call to me.
So one thing I want to show you is Neptune, Uranus right now for you in your natal chart is 16 degrees Scorpio, and Uranus in the sky is still retrograding backwards, and he's now at 17 degrees Taurus. So you're actually going to be experiencing another Uranus opposition Uranus quite soon here. when it's in retrograde, it gives us an opportunity. The planets, it doesn't matter what planets they are, they give us an opportunity to reevaluate and make adjustments. It's not typically as intense of an energy as it is the first time. It's almost like, okay, going back into the hotel room before you leave to check and make sure you didn't leave anything behind, right? So this is another opportunity, and you're probably still feeling this energy or starting to feel it again, where you need to make sure you really are learning the lessons that you needed to learn, right? And make sure that you got all of that out of that experience. So you get to like go back and reevaluate that. Is that something you're feeling?
No. I don't know that I'm ready to go reevaluate all that. Oh my God. No, I've been doing a lot of work. When I mentioned earlier, I've been doing connecting more with the angelic realm. That's been part of my work with them, is to help me release anything that I'm still holding on to. And that part of my life is something that, yes, that I have been releasing. So that's, I'm already thinking, okay, I'm going to go back in there today and we're going to talk some more. Like, what is it? Because I don't want to, I believe in the spiral path, right? We're not on this linear timeline. And that things come back around on the spiral. And if we learn the lessons the first time, then they're not as hard the second time they come around, when they, and we have the opportunity to say, oh, I made this choice before and I'm not going to make it again. So I've been feeling that, if that makes sense.
I think that's exactly what I was attempting to explain. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, not everyone is so lucky to have Uranus go back over so many times. And that's also always brings sort of a blessing. It's a blessing too, because you just get more opportunities to go in there and ask, is there anything that I forgot? Do I have everything? Okay, yeah, I'm good. Because it's going to retrograde and then it will go direct. So it will go over this degree again. So you have 2 more times, the retrograde, and then it will go across again.
And this is something to take note of with Uranus ruling our nervous system. So you have an opportunity to really check in with your nervous system and really tune that, to the right frequency. Make sure you're in the right career path. Make sure you are contributing to your own creativity and making sure you're really doing creative pursuits and creative endeavors to channel this energy into the right type of thing, right? And you said you're going to the angelic realm and making sure that you've cleared what you need to clear. That's exactly what a retrograde is asking you to do. Like, go back and check. Make sure you got all your garbage and all the stuff cleared out so that when you move forward again, you won't get struck by lightning. Like, I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing. Oh my God.
Yeah. So now I started looking at something else in your chart, and I have a question for you about communication and how comfortable you feel now and before about communicating in a loud way, like taking up space.
Are we looking at Saturn?
We're looking at Saturn in the 3rd house of Leo.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I don't even know if I have Gemini in my chart anywhere, but I feel like Gemini, it's like part of me is like, if somebody doesn't ask me, I don't speak up, even though I have something to say. But if somebody gave me the microphone and said, here, get on the stage in front of 10,000 people, I would have no problem doing that.
Okay.
Interesting.
And yeah, that is interesting, because that is the Leo energy, is like, take the microphone and take the stage. That's
for sure.
Leo likes that. But that's really interesting. You mentioned Gemini in your chart, because you have one very powerful planet in Gemini, which is Jupiter. And it's in your 12th house of connection with spirit, and which is the house ruled by Pisces. So that is your superpower, essentially. Anytime I see people with Gemini Jupiter in their 12th house, I'm like, oh, tell me how the spirits talk to you, because it's really like it's your gift. It's your superpower. And we clearly know they speak to you very well. And you have that ability, but it is connected in a sextile. Jupiter in Gemini is connected in a sextile to Saturn in this 3rd house in Leo. So a sextile is, I love to explain it in this way, that it's like somebody's dumb gift. Like they're so good at it, they don't even know they're good at it. Like they just kind of assume everybody has this gift and you don't even think twice about it. So your ability to communicate the messages you receive is very, very powerful. And it is the structure that your life is being built around. Saturn is all about structure and hard work and discipline. And Leo is asking you to be recognized for this. So it is something you definitely need to be on stage doing or in a podcast doing or whatever, because that's what Saturn wants you to kind of grow into and mature into. Is that how you'd see that, Helena?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also intrigued about what the reason why you'd feel like you don't tell people what's inside, even though because if no one asks you, you don't tell them. What do you think is holding you back from?
What's coming up for me right now is, as a child, and even especially as a teenager, of course, I was very vocal, and I didn't speak my truth with love, though. I just spoke. And I think I hurt a lot of people's feelings in doing that. And even though now today I ask for any message that's going to come through me with love so that the person receiving can understand it, I still have that, I think, that little bit of a trigger back in the back of my mind that says, don't step out of bounds here, because you might tell them something they don't want to hear.
And I can I'm looking at now Pisces for this, because Saturn is in opposition to Sun and Mercury in Pisces for you. And Pisces is all about giving, but sometimes Pisces just gives and gives and gives without asking if the person wants to receive. Right. So I can see how that could have been like you wanted to tell people these things, but they weren't ready for your help. They didn't want it. So maybe you were burned like that. And an opposition could be sort of like a tension. So maybe now you go between this, I want to be loud and communicate these things, but like
I want to do it more sensitively.
Is that good? Is the empath in me? Does the empath in me want to do that? Is that good for them? Am I allowed to? Do they want my help?
Yeah.
That's sort of how I'm seeing that.
And at the time in your teens, I do need to point out, you would have been experiencing around 14, 15, your Saturn opposition Saturn. So Saturn would have been up here. And when we're experiencing that at 14, like, let's just face it, 14 is just crap for everybody, right?
Sure.
But when you're experiencing that, it's a time of maturity. Saturn is all about maturing and testing the structure and the boundaries that have been in place in your life. So you were doing exactly what a Saturn in Leo having an opposition would be doing, testing how bold and how boisterous and how much you can be seen, right? Like really pushing those boundaries to know where it's too far. Because as humans, we have to learn how far the pendulum swings by actually swinging the pendulum, right? So that makes sense that when you were a teen, that is something you would have done. It was the lessons you needed to learn to be a really, really intuitive and kind and compassionate and aware healer now, because you can't create that awareness unless you go, oops, that one hurt them. Sorry, didn't, that was too much. Whoops.
Yeah.
And then you learn. So you're going to be having a Saturn opposition Saturn again in the next probably year and a half. I'd have to check the transit exactly. And this is another opportunity for you to learn how to speak a little bit louder and a little bit more boldly and test those boundaries again, but again, in a much healthier, much more mature way with all of the life experiences you've had. And you don't have to worry about doing it wrong or anybody making you feel bad, or because you're your own person and you know yourself now. Yeah. So it's going to be a new experience, but yet still a similar one where you're going to be pushing those limits a little bit more and a little bit more. And that's what Saturn opposition Saturn is asking you to do. So, don't be afraid of that when that energy starts to creep in. Just be aware, like, oh yeah, this is what those ladies in astrology land were talking about.
Yeah. And I just want to add something about this that I'm thinking now is that also with Mercury in opposition to Saturn in the house of communication, I think that all your Pisces energy, you're going to use it to sort of trigger Saturn in everyone else when you communicate with them. So probably when you talk to people, they will face Saturn, aka like their life struggles and their challenges and karma in their life, which might be triggering for them, but you're actually doing them. I mean, this is your gift.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I see that.
Your gift is literally to find people's weak spot in their structure and foundation and point it out to them, which doesn't feel good to the person.
Nope.
But that's what you're here to do. And I feel like this is where astrology really helps me personally to honor myself and not feel bad about it, right? I burn people. It's what I do. You either move when I'm around and make changes, or you get burned. Like there's no other option, right? That's who I am. I used to feel bad about that. Now I know that's literally what I am here to do, is get people to take action. You are here to test their foundation and test their structure and verbally point out where they have weakened areas and how they can bring awareness to it. And Leo is bold and it's brave. And so you've really got to help them recognize that this area can be healed, and it takes boldness and bravery to make the changes to do that, right? And create a new structure to do that. And you do that with your words. Your words are kind and they're healing, but they do trigger people for sure. Yeah, you, Mary.
Yeah.
But also people right now, which is really great, people are really looking for this now. People are looking for the triggers. They want to know the root cause of something. So people also will come to you for the specific reason. So don't be afraid of it or feel bad about it, because it's great. It's so great. That's what people need right now.
For sure. And then we haven't mentioned your lovely moon down here in Virgo. I love me some Virgo moons. They are the best people to be of service to others. Virgo is the service-minded earth sign, and you genuinely care so much about people. And it's such a loving placement that sometimes can get a bad rap. I know some people really come down hard on Virgo energy because they can be very analytical and quite judgy. And I know you tend to judge yourself, don't you, Mary?
Oh, yeah, every day.
Yeah, and that's where Virgo moons really kind of can get down on themselves quite hard for doing something quote unquote wrong. So this is where I feel like it's helpful for you to hear this permission statement. Like, it's okay to trigger other people. You're not doing anything wrong, right? Virgo's so good about the right and the wrong and the doing it the right way and making sure it's done perfectly, and very analytical and very black and white thinking. And that's in your emotional realm. And it's such a great moon sign to be of service to others. And sometimes you can forget to be of service to yourself. So making sure you're nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself. Do you have a good self-care routine?
I think so. Yeah.
Good. Is this something you've had to develop, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Putting everybody else's needs ahead of mine has always been priority.
That was my question next.
So,
how often have you sacrificed your own emotional needs for those of others?
Yeah. Most of my life. I've learned to say no, though.
Oh, good girl. Woohoo.
That's really good. For Pisces energy, people with people with a lot of Pisces energy, that can be difficult to put yourself first, because they are just wanting to give and help others. And then you have the moon in Virgo to sort of help that even more.
And it's in the fourth house of mothering and nurturing, which is ruled by Cancer. So you have an earthy moon in a water house. So again, some more water there. It's just, and then your Gemini Jupiter in the 12th house of Pisces. So you have a Jupiter in a water house. So again, with the spirituality, it's all over your chart. So I want to dive into this Jupiter opposition Neptune. Now it's about 8 degrees apart. So it's a little bit wide, but still very much talking to each other. When Jupiter's in your 12th house of past lives, generational trauma, generations, spiritual connection, it enhances your ability to be in that realm. Now, it's in Gemini, and Gemini I'm a big fan of. I love me some Gemini, and I love to think of that as the pillars that connect the heavens with the earth. and communication. So you have this gigantic ability, Jupiter, to connect spirit with reality, heavens and earth, right? And right now in the sky, Mars is currently transiting your Jupiter. So the drive and ambition of Mars is enhancing that. And you're doing what again? You're taking angelic classes, or
No, I'm just channeling.
you're just channeling, right? And have you felt it, like your drive to do that increase recently?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mars is there going, all right, Mary Louise, let's go. Right. Like he's turning that Jupiter up. And Jupiter is opposite of Neptune. And I love to think of Jupiter as the spotlight in the back of the theater that shines a light on whatever planet it's opposite. So it's shining a light on your planet of spiritual connection, Neptune. So not only do you have this amazing spiritual connection, Jupiter 12th, you now have 6th house Neptune. So you have everyday work and routine connection with spirit. And I love that. But I imagine it can get exhausting and draining at the same time. Have you gotten drained or exhausted in that area?
Yes, and that's when I know to walk away and go do something else.
Nice.
Great boundaries.
Right?
It's really
Right? I
good.
love it.
Yeah.
But that's when I beat myself up saying I'm not doing enough.
I'm not helping people enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are enough. You are doing that enough for sure.
Yeah. And one of the things I've been bringing into chart readings very recently is 2 different asteroids, Pallas Athena, and she's right here next to your Neptune at 16 degrees. And then Ceres. Now, Ceres is about the same energy level as Pluto, and I think should be included in everybody's readings because Ceres is an asteroid with a feminine energy, and she's all about how we nurture ourselves and how we feel nurtured. You feel nurtured in a very hardworking Capricorn way. And it's got to be in a day-to-day basis. So you've got to have that structure and routine of how you nurture yourself, whether it's sitting and having your morning tea and reading, spiritual guides or oracle cards or whatever. But it's got to be that structure to create your foundation of your spiritual life. And that's really the best way you can nurture yourself. Do you feel that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yes. Do you have a routine like that?
Yeah, every morning I'll get up and first thing I do is go make whatever I'm going to drink that day, coffee, tea, whatever it is. And then I'll get my cards out and I'll sit on the living room floor in the quiet by myself and do a daily reading for myself. And then I'll meditate.
Yes. That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So happy. It's so important for you to recognize that is the way your bucket gets filled, and you have to do that. That is a priority for you, like number 1 priority. And it really affects your health if you don't do it, like really, because this is the 6th house of health. And then Pallas Athena here, she's the asteroid that is all about strategy and wisdom. And she does not like to go to battle or fight with anyone. She's very much about our chief negotiator. And she is in your 6th house of health and being of service to people. And she will fight and go to war if she has to, but she avoids it at all costs. And she is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is about higher education and learning and travel. So again, if you're feeling like there's a war brewing or you're just in conflict with someone, going out for a day trip somewhere, getting out of your environment, reading or learning something, even going to, spirit realm and talking with them, like just any kind of little travel or any kind of learning is going to be where your wisdom comes in. Like, absolutely. And it's so connected with Neptune and how you talk with spirit and connect with spirit. So I feel like for you, it's like, whenever there is any kind of tension, you just like immediately like, I'm going to go to spirit realm. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Right. Like you just go on like a mini vacation. That's the best way for you to be in a physically healthy body. That's where your physical health comes from, is making sure you're connecting spiritually. Have you noticed that?
Yes. When I'm disconnected, yeah, I don't feel good at all.
Yeah. Does it show up in stomach aches? How does it show up physically for you?
My eyesight will get blurry. I get migraines.
Interesting.
I don't have a lot of
Stuff.
gastro issues necessarily.
Good. Eyesight, interesting.
I have a question about how you communicate with spirits.
Okay.
Could you explain like how that process happens?
It happens a couple of different ways. They give me visions. And it's almost like I'm seeing something happening on the movie screen. I'll also hear, and when I say hear, I hear with my third eye, if that makes any sense. So I'm not physically hearing, but it's as if I'm having a conversation with myself. I also get physical sensations, like my crown will light up. I can start feeling tingling, especially when I'm open, to receiving communications. But yeah, and a lot of times it's just kind of a knowing. But the more that I practice it and the stronger that muscle gets, it's more of just kind of an open dialogue communication.
And when did that happen, or like how did that happen when you realized that you had the potential of doing this, or was this already happening but you could not explain, or you didn't have an idea? Maybe you thought everyone had this. Maybe you thought everyone had these sensations, and then you realize, oh, hang on, I'm different to other people. How did that happen when you were like, oh, hang on, this is something?
As a kid, my whole life, I can remember just having this like knowing. It's almost as if I had a memory of something, but I knew it wasn't my memory. So it was just this knowing of things.
And did you know that was something that not?
I think that's where I was kind of like, I didn't realize that it was not something that everybody had. As I got older, I tried to experiment with it in different ways that weren't really very conducive to my specific gifts, if you will. But I just was trying everything I knew how to try because I wanted to tap into it a little bit more strongly. It wasn't until I started training with Reiki that it really started to open up. And me working, because I was working also as a massage therapist. So me working with the physical body and allowing that healing energy to move through me into the client and picking up subtle cues from their bodies. That really, I think, is when it started to open up.
So a very sort of organic way leading into what you do now.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. You're going to be having a lot of intense energy with your career. Jupiter in the sky, transiting Jupiter, just retrograded back into Pisces, and he's real close to the start of your career house. And then Neptune in the next few years is going to be going over your career house. So I feel like your spiritual gifts are just going to keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, which is really cool to see. Like, how deep can you go and how big can you get, right? Like, how much healing can you provide for not only yourself and your loved ones, but, this global level that clearly we need. Like, clearly the world is in a very tumultuous time, and Earth School is really hard, like really hard. And you chose to incarnate with these amazing healing gifts. And I'm so excited to see how they develop further for you. Do you have any interests in the spiritual realm that you haven't pursued yet?
Vocalizing, which is what I'm stepping into now. I've sung my entire life, but never did much with it outside of, college choir or karaoke on Tuesday nights. Right. So I'm really, really excited about getting this project going. Last week I went and met with someone who has a recording studio in her home. And she basically channeled the piano music while I channeled the vocals. And I was both of us were kind of like, whoa, that was really cool. So I see myself doing a lot more of that. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but that's really where I'm being pulled to right now.
I can see that you're in your chart. You've got Pluto at the bottom of your chart in the mothering house, fourth house of nurturing and mothering, and it's in Libra. And Libra is the ruler of music. And so Pluto is all about transformations. And Pluto is either creative or destructive. So if you're not using it in a creative way, it's going to break down relationships and destroy, or it's going to create and build. There's no dimmer switch on Pluto. It's on or it's off. And it's in this Libra house of relationships. So you're telling me you're working with somebody. So I'm like, okay, hello, there you go. And it's connected to your Venus. And again, how you relate with others, how you make money, how you love, what brings you personal value. And then in about April, Jupiter will be back over here in Aries, and he will be just about opposite of Pluto. So whatever you've got going on, I see it really building and culminating right around April when you have this opposition. So Jupiter in the sky will be this giant spotlight on this transformation for you with partnership and music and nurturing people through music and partnerships. So yay for you.
Very cool. Yay.
Yeah. It's a lot of things a lot of big transits has happened for you and are coming. Yeah. I'm looking also at Pluto. That is it's a 1 degree off an opposition to your natal Mars in the first house. So that would have been something too. Pluto transiting your 7th house of relationships. Also transformation, and soon when is it going to? It's going to be in spring in Aquarius, right?
In April. Yeah, you have stuff coming up in April. There's going to be Saturn will move into Pisces. Jupiter will be in the opposite your Pluto, and Pluto in the sky will be moving into Aquarius. You've got a lot of big shifting happening right around.
Yeah. And also Pluto will be going into your 8th house, which is where Pluto belongs. It's the house of sort of mysticism, woo, bringing things up from deep down. So I'm excited for you.
I am too.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I think you're ready. I think you're ready for all of this.
Yes.
It sounds like you're really setting the scene up properly. You're setting the stage. You're getting all of the production ready for the big show. And of course, with Saturn in Leo, it's going to be a show, because if you have Leo in your chart, if you're Leo anything, you're here to perform in some way. And that's Leo wants and needs to be seen. And Saturn is here to really slowly develop that for you. It's not going to be like you were chucked on stage as a little kid, right? This is very much a slow lifetime development of stepping into that Leo power. And I almost picture in The Lion King when they walk up the rock and they just kind of like, oh, right, come up to the edge. That's kind of what you're doing. You're like slowly walking out to the edge of the rock to embrace this Leo bravery that's in you, and it's so strongly in you, and it's really starting to like super mature now. And I'm so excited, Mary.
So can I ask about this? The vocalizations you're doing. Did you call it angel vocal? What did you call it? Angel.
I'm basically channeling angelic frequencies.
Yeah. And you're recording that. You're in a recording studio now recording this.
Well, she and I we just got together for the first time last week and just did it just to see what would happen.
But does she have a recording studio?
She has a recording studio. We didn't formally record. We recorded it on her phone. Yeah. It wasn't a formal thing, but yes.
Yeah, I feel like this could be something. It just feels very meant to be that you're doing this right now. You just looking all over your chart. It's channeling the angels' voices and like being sort of on stage in a way.
Yeah. Well, and we've got Chiron, our wounded healer asteroid, is in Aries right now, and he's going to be in Aries for a while. And Aries energy is fearlessness and bravery and doing it because you want to, and not asking permission from anybody, right? And just doing things because they sound fun, and it's very childlike. And it sounds like this singing and what you're doing with this partner and channeling it's fun, and you're doing it because you want to, and you're not asking permission, and you're just playing with it. And that's the energy that's really being asked with Jupiter opposite Pluto in April. That's playful. Like, you need to play with music. You need to play with partnership. You need to have fun and play, because that is what Aries is asking. But our wound is there, and it's a collective wound right now. All of us are experiencing Chiron and Aries transiting, and we're all feeling a little bit like, oh, but when I was younger, or when I was this, it hurt. And you have to go, okay, I honor that pain, and I'm going to do it anyway, because I want to. And Aries just loves to do crap because they want to. And you don't have any natal planets in Aries. So this is kind of an energy that's foreign to you. And with Jupiter there, I think it's going to really help you expand that and really step into that. I know some people can get a little apprehensive when they are feeling Aries energy that they don't normally feel. And I was actually just talking to a friend of mine I did a reading for, and she said, I feel kind of bitchy. And I was like, yeah, I think you're in the right path. Yeah, it's cool. You can do that. It's like, that's just Aries doing what they want. It's okay. You kind of feel bitchy sometimes. It's all right to do that and to feel that way. And for you, it's just kind of a foreign concept because you're so giving, and Aries is the sign of I am. And for you, it's been we, and let me heal and help heal, and we, and there's a lot of we in your chart, right? And this is going to be an I, and it'll be opposite this Pluto and we. So there'll still be we. Don't worry, that none of the we is going away. Just the I part of you is going to be more enhanced, and you're going to feel this kind of, I'm going to do this because I want to, and it'll be a little bit foreign for you for sure. So I feel like I want to give you a permission slip to be okay with that.
Thank you.
Does that make sense for you?
Yes, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because there's not much in your chart. I mean, you have Mars in the first house, which is an Aries house, but it's in Cancer, which is not an Aries energy.
No, very, very much different to Aries energy. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I did notice was your Pluto, when you talked about Libra or singing and all that, and I was looking at your Pluto and Libra, it's in a trine to Jupiter in the 12th house. So again, this connection with spirit, you're channeling music. You're literally pulling it from the heavens out your heart into your singing voice, right? You're channeling it and pulling it down to transform yourself. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. And then Pluto is in a sextile over here to Neptune, your connection with spirit. And I'm like, of course you're channeling music. Like, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah. And then you go to a trine back to Saturn in the third house of communication, which is also in a sextile to Jupiter in the 12th house of channeling from other worlds.
Yeah. So you are exactly on the right path you should be on with you're stepping into music and channeling this way. It's actually really beautiful how it's manifesting for you. Seriously.
That's cool.
So excited for you. And then
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about recording an album maybe and maybe releasing it for the world to listen to?
I feel like finally.
Yeah. Amazing. It's time. It's time.
Yeah, I do.
it is time. It is. Like, all of the transits are going, yes, please do this. Mars just went retrograde 3 days ago, and he's going to be in Gemini for a long time. He's going to go retrograde another 2 months backwards, and then he's going to come another 2 months forward. He's usually only in a sign for 2 months, and this year he's in it for 8. So, and he's happily playing in your 12th house of hey, Mary, let's play with the spirits, right? He's over here asking you to come and play with spirit. And he's given you such a boost, and it's almost like you have a new fuel in your tank for a while. And it's like connect with spiritual fuel. give me some of that.
Woohoo!
I love it. Do you have any questions off the top of your head, Mary?
When is that Uranus thing happening?
Right now.
Oh. Okay.
You should feel it right now. It's in exact opposition. Let's see. Uranus takes about 82 years around.
Your natal Uranus is 16 degrees, and currently in the sky it's at 17 degrees Taurus and is going backwards. So Uranus moves very slow. and he'll be hanging out in Taurus until 2026. So he moves very slow. But yeah, we could certainly check the actual dates for you afterwards, and I can get you the specific dates. But you should be feeling the energy of, quote unquote, the recheck, right? Go back and recheck the hotel room. Recheck should be happening right now, where you just need to almost, I don't want to say you need to, but it would be beneficial to go back to that time when the lightning strike happened and evaluate in journals, and really evaluate emotionally, and really evaluate physically, your home, what were you doing at the time that you needed to change, what did change, and maybe what other changes do we need to make, what tweaks do we need to do. And that's the energy that's being activated very shortly, if not right now.
Okay.
And it'll
I would also say that soon we will have an eclipse, a full moon in Taurus, and the full moon will be like right across from your Uranus in Scorpio. So this is also a really good time for you to let go of a lot of crap. And it's coming up, I think it's the 8th.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I would suggest like make a lot of time to just sort of feel free to do whatever you want, because we're talking about Uranus, so it can happen you can get like emotions burst out that you didn't know were there. And I see purging. I think this is a great time for you to purge things that have been sitting there that are still there, but it's time for them to go. On Tuesday.
If you can set aside a good chunk of time on Tuesday to do some ritual type of healing, writing down, letting go, burning, anything like that, it would be really, really beneficial for you energetically, for sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff in
Scorpio. I did a fire ceremony to let go of this past year. I did that maybe 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
Maybe I felt it coming up and knew it was
but
coming.
that was the time of the that was the solar eclipse.
It was, yeah. And I didn't put that into my thought process. I just knew that it was something I had to do. And yesterday I deleted all of the photographs off my phone from the past year.
Wow. Oh, you were purging.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like you are really tuned in with the astrological energy, the universe. So
and I also started a juice fast yesterday.
Wow. So like
I know it's coming, I guess.
You do, which is actually brilliant, because asteroid Pallas Athena is your wisdom, and she's going over the top of your natal Mars right now in the first house of nurturing and healing and mothering yourself, right? So the house of I. So you're driven to really work on healing yourself, and your wisdom is there right now. She's over the top of that going, hey, let's be really smart about this. We need to really make sure we are taking care and driven to take care of ourselves. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're mothering yourself in a new way. And you're gaining such wisdom and clarity by doing this, by deleting those photos, by purging this stuff. Think of the clearing of the fishbowl, really. You're clearing your water, right? You're getting your water, your stagnant energy water cleared out, because water can't be stagnant. We don't want stagnant, yucky water from Mary Louise.
No.
You have too much water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things in water. You can't be stagnant. It's not good for you. The movement has to flow like a river constantly for you, or it's not good. So that's it. Perfect that you cleared phone pictures. Did it feel really good afterwards?
It did. It was another sigh of relief.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, because your water was clearer and it wasn't so heavy and toxic anymore. You let go of junk that wasn't serving you. I see it with Taurus, with the full moon. Taurus is the things that we value and our possessions. So if you haven't done a good closet purge or a good wardrobe purge or bedroom purge or basement purge, I can see that type of thing happening now too. The physical things that we own. Taurus is all about the physicality. If you'd like to purge your wallet, you can send that to me. That's fine.
Do you accept quarters and pennies?
Right.
It's
That's
so
funny.
interesting.
That's so funny that you say that though, because just yesterday I emptied out all the change out of my wallet because it was getting too heavy. And I have a little change jar and I put it all in the change jar.
So you did purge your wallet too.
Did.
But you just put it somewhere better.
That's so funny. And right now the moon is in Pisces. So you're really like today it's in Pisces. So you're really, you're tuned in. You're tuned into the cleaning water stage right now. And then we're going to get some fiery action here in the next few days. And then next Tuesday with that full moon, it's going to be a doozy for you. So just like hang on and recognize that, purging does not feel the best in the moment. And sometimes it causes chaos, right? But then it's the after effects that really feel amazing. So as it moves into Gemini and Cancer, you're going to start to feel the healing of that full moon purge. For sure.
Yeah. So much has been happening with your Uranus there in Scorpio, because in the spring, remember we had this Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction, I think on like 16 degrees something. And Uranus is on 16 degrees in Scorpio for you, right across. So that massive conjunction, which happens super rarely, I don't know, like every couple of 100 years or something, has a lot to do with your Scorpio Uranus energy. And I would say that, for one, it will have shook you up for sure. And the North Node being there, it will have shook you up and put you in alignment with your destiny.
Mary, that would have been when we were really working on our book project together.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
And I definitely, I will
shivers.
say too, that book project was my first, I finally found my purpose. Like I love to write. I absolutely love to write. And being able to do that really got my creative energy flowing in so many different ways. So I know that singing is a big part of it. I believe that writing is a big part too.
What were you writing about?
My contribution to the project was my dark night of the soul, that experience that I had.
Oh my God.
Dark night, Scorpio.
Yeah. Definitely. And then North Node, sort of the soul.
Yep. And the soul. Yes. So Mary Louise and I wrote in Dare to Express is the name of the book. You can find it on Amazon. It's a collection of bold stories and brave women. And we were part of a group collaboration, and we each wrote a chapter of a transformational experience that we had. And mine was on parenting and healing, and Mary's just told us what hers was. And it was very transformative for everybody in the group. And we all created such a sisterhood and such a bonding. And it was so powerful. And that it was exactly when you were experiencing that soul chaos kind of energy in Taurus. And it's all happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is putting things out to humanity, to groups, to the public, to community, and creating new community. So, putting a book out there is very much what that would be in 11th house energy.
Oh, I just feel like it's so amazing. Sort of like the last chapter with the full moon eclipse happening there too.
Yeah, there's a lot of big changes and transformations in this year, and then coming up in the next 6 or 8 months for you, Mary. So I'm excited to we'll have to have you back on the show again in a couple months and see how things are progressing for you.
That'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Any other astrology questions for us?
Not that I can think of right now.
Awesome.
This stuff always blows me away. I know that it's not my path to learn about it, that I'm so grateful for you guys that do know about it, but yeah.
And vice versa, lady. We could just take all of your information all day. We're like, tell us.
I want all of your information.
I love it. I love it. And I think it's so validating, especially when we do what we do, right? Like my intuitive abilities have definitely stepped up since I started doing astrology. And one of the things that, Mary, you confirmed for me, and not only you, but actually after I've seen you, I've had quite a few other people tell me through, whether it was a psychic reading or whatever, that my power is through astrology. And you were the first one to say like that you've spoken this language before. This is the language you speak to connect with what, spirit and what you need to connect with. And that was so validating for me to go, okay, like I am doing this. This isn't just made up in my head, right? Like I am actually doing this. And since then, my intuitive abilities have really, really grown tremendously. And Helena has her moon in the 12th house as well. So we both have this emotional ability and connection to work with spirit. And we're both kind of working on honing it in. So it's such a unique thing that, couple generations ago we would have been shunned for, or I'm sure all of us have been burned at one lifetime or another for the weirdness that we have in us, right? So we all have this past where we were not allowed to speak this out loud and not allowed to put this out to the masses. And now we're in a time frame in Earth School where we can do that, and it feels amazing to do, but also definitely a little bit scary. Sure. And I think it's so neat to have astrology confirm what we already intuitively know and feel inside and are taking action on,
So Mary, if people want to find you for a session, where do they find you online in the site?
So my new website should be up this week, but it's not up yet. So I'm just directing people Facebook and Instagram, both of them at Mary Louise Healing. You can find me there, and then all the links are there. Once I get the website published, I'll have all of that information there. But you can definitely message me through Facebook or Instagram.
Okay, and we can put your website on the show notes and stuff when we get that as well. So awesome. Well, Mary, this has been so lovely. Helena, do you have any follow-up questions for Mary?
No, I don't. I'm just excited to have a reading in the future sometime.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Mary. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
And thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to be a part of our show or have a personal reading done with us, email us at ramgoatastrology@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. See you next week.